In Lyman direction, the Russian command sends small infantry groups to try to penetrate the Ukrainian defense from the rear, but the Ukrainian Third Army Corps answered them with the next step in its drone innovations. For the first time, a ground kamikaze drone was sent to hunt the hunters and eliminate the enemies while they were attacking. Euromaidan Press media outlet says, for 2 months now, the Russians have been trying and failing to break through the Ukrainian defenses in front of Novoselivka. If they manage to enter the settlement, they could create a foothold to threaten Izium from the east and Lyman from the north. Despite establishing a bridgehead over the Zherebets River, Russian reinforcements still cross it under catastrophic losses. They cannot bring armored vehicles across, so they send in infantry only, with tiny assault groups of 3 to 5 men slipping through forests and trenches, searching for gaps in the Ukrainian line. The Ukrainian Third Army Corps, famous for battlefield innovation, is now fielding ground kamikaze drones for limited assaults. After a Russian infiltrator group was detected near Novoselivka, drone footage shows a small remote-controlled Ukrainian ground robot creeping through grass and branches, silently approaching the unsuspecting soldiers. One Russian heard something and turned toward the sound, but it was too late. These attacks demonstrate that while the Russians rely heavily on infantry infiltrations, Ukrainian forces increasingly use automated systems to track, fix and destroy enemy troops with minimal risk to their own soldiers. Euromaidan Press says, Ukraine has already executed a pure drone multi-phase assault in the Lyman direction, combining aerial surveillance and FPV drones with unmanned ground vehicles loaded with explosives to clear enemy dugouts. The latest development marks a clear trend as ground drones start to become an essential part of Ukrainian frontline operations. They can carry ammunition, food, medical gear, and even evacuate wounded soldiers, and are now used for direct assaults. Though slower and more expensive than aerial drones, they are far more resistant to jamming. Aerial drones crash when the signal is lost, while ground drones stop and wait until communications return. Their use is growing because they close the personnel gap by doing the most dangerous work when manpower is limited. Euromaidan Press reports. Overall, the Russian command wants to reach the northern outskirts of Lyman at any cost, putting enormous pressure on the Ukrainian defenders, who remain outnumbered across the entire sector. This is why the Third Army Corps invests so heavily in drone warfare with ground drones to clear trenches, being the latest development, as technologies compensate for troop shortages and allow Ukraine to hold the line even against superior numbers.
Ukrainian forces have struck Russia's major Ryazan oil refinery for a second time in a week amid intensified long-range targeting of Moscow's energy infrastructure. This was a third such attack on the refinery this autumn. A danger alert was issued in Russia in the early hours of November 20, with local telegram channels posting video of multiple explosions in Ryazan. The strike on Ryazan oil refinery, which is one of Russia's largest oil facilities, was launched by the first separate SBS center, in coordination with Ukraine's main intelligence directorate, known as HUR. As a result of the strike, explosions occurred on the refinery's territory, followed by a fire in the area of the secondary oil processing units. The detailed consequences of the strike are being clarified. Owned by Rosneft State Company and being one of largest oil refineries in Russia, Ryazan facility processed 13.1 million tons of crude in 2024 and accounts for 5% of Russia's total refining capacity. The refinery annually produces gasoline, diesel, liquefied gas, and approximately 840,000 tons of TS-1 aviation kerosene used by Russia's aerospace forces. Residents reported seeing unidentified drones over Ryazan city and surrounding areas on Thursday. The head of Ukraine's unmanned systems forces confirmed the attack on the Ryazan oil refinery in a Telegram post, stressing that Ukrainian drones also struck the Ilsky oil refinery in Russia's Krasnodar region early on November 19. The General Staff of Ukrainian Armed Forces confirmed the damage on the refinery, writing in its report that a strike on the target and a fire in the area of the secondary oil processing facilities were recorded. Earlier, on November 15 strike, the Ryazan oil refinery suspended operations due to the closing of its main refining unit, responsible for 48% of capacity. The facility became the fifth Russian refinery to stop production in November due to Ukrainian drone strikes. Meanwhile, Russian Defense Ministry claimed its air defenses intercepted and destroyed 65 Ukrainian aircraft-type drones overnight, including 16 over Ryazan. It should be noted that according to classified information, Russia's overall refining production declined by 6% between August and October after repeated drone strikes.
Вышла курить, а там дымина невъебенно, даже где вот огня нету. Расхуярили, конечно, хорошо. Не знаю, видно, нет? Дым. Вот там вот дым. Дымит, блядь. Не только, по-моему, территория этого нефтика. Что-то, по-моему, еще въебали. В общем... Там прям движуха конкретно идет.